Good morning, everyone. Before we begin, I would just like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and elders past, present and emerging. I would also like to acknowledge my colleague from CAS, Miss Jane Liu, who was going to be your MC today but has had some emergency dental surgery, but she's still with us. Thank you, Jane. I'd also like to introduce you to our interpreter for today, Miss Weilin Chan. So in our program today, we're basically going to be doing a screening of 2 videos that Seniors' Rights developed with CAS, and we'll be having a discussion with a lawyer and a social worker about some of the issues that come up. And we'll also be opening up to the physically present audience for questions and to the online audience. I'd now like to introduce Dr. Bo Zhao to do a Chinese welcome ceremony and say a few words. Thank you, Bo.
大家好。因为有这位美丽的翻译小姐，所以下边呢我就讲英文了，中文就由她来讲了，好吗 ？Welcome everyone.
欢迎大家
，especially distinguished guests from Seniors' Rights Service.
尤其是来自于老年权益服务社的工作人员。
Now we're having a short ceremony handing over the gifts of jasmine, and the word "fu" means fortune and happiness.
接下来呢，我们会有一个茶饮仪式我们会送出茉莉茶给大家。茉莉茶呢，就是意味着幸福快乐。
In the Chinese culture, jasmine is the symbol of purity and respect.
中国文化当中，茉莉茶象征着纯洁，象征着敬意。
And together with tea, we have a very popular jasmine tea in China.
茉莉跟茶搭配一起，就是一个完美的茉莉茶。
The word "fu" means fortune and happiness.
福字呢，意味着快乐，意味着幸运。
When people tend to hold it upside down, and in Chinese culture it means the arrival of fortune.
我们把福字倒着拿呢，就意味着福到了。
Okay, thank you everyone.
谢谢大家。
Now I'd like to give my welcome speech shortly.
接下来我做一个简短的欢迎致辞。
Ms. Jane Schneider, Communication Manager, Seniors' Rights Service.
欢迎老年权益服务社的公关经理 Miss Jane Schneider.
Ms. Diana Bernard, Education and Community Service Manager, Seniors' Rights Service.
老年权益服务社的社区服务以及教育经理 Diana Bernard 女士。
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen.
尊敬的客人、女士们、先生们。
I would like to start the program of our events today by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land, the Gadigal people of Eora Nation.
首先，我们对在这片土地的传统的主人表示敬意。
And pay my respect to their elders, both past, present, and emerging.
对这片土地过去的长老对他们的过去、现在以及将来表示敬意。
Welcome to the Family Money Matters Mandarin Lunch.
欢迎大家来到家庭财务至关重要这个华语版的媒体的一个发布。
This is organized by the Seniors' Rights Service.
这个活动呢是由老年权益服务社主办的。
CAS is proud to be a partner of this meaningful project.
我们华龙服务社呢是这个活动的一个有力的支持方。
Elder abuse is an issue in the community. The abuse can be physical, mental, and financial.
老年霸凌呢是社区面临的一个问题，霸凌的方式有肢体上的、有精神上的以及财务上的霸凌。
Sadly, a lot of the elders' abuse cases are closely related to family members and people that the seniors trust.
很遗憾，制造这些霸凌行为的通常都是最亲密的家人以及老人所非常信任的朋友。
For this reason, they often experience shame and find it difficult to report the abuser or talk about it.
由于这个原因呢，老人们通常感到很丢脸，所以很难开口向外界去倾诉他们的遭遇。
It is therefore very important that senior people know their rights and have proper plans on their assets.
所以说呢，对老年人来说非常重要，要明晓他们的权利，以及对他们的财务做一个合理的规划。
In the past few months, COVID-19 has intensified issues around elderly financial abuse.
在过去的几个月，由于新冠病毒，这样老年人面临的财务的欺凌的问题呢，是越来越严重。
CAS is pleased to support the Seniors' Rights Service in producing the video Family Money Matters in Mandarin.
华人服务社很荣幸能够支持老年权利服务社制作这个家庭财务非常至关重要这样一个华语的视频。
I hope the video will help the seniors from Mandarin-speaking background to break the language barrier and gain access to information relating to financial arrangements they may make with their family members.
我希望通过这支视频，老年人说华语背景的，来自于华语背景的华裔的老人，能够打破语言的障碍，能够获取足够的信息，帮助他们理财就是跟家人做好一个很合理的财务的规划。
And finally, I would like to thank the Seniors' Rights Service for producing this video, the support from CAS volunteers and staff members in the production, and the presence of everyone who are here today.
最后呢，我对于老年权益服务社制作这个视频，以及华语服务社的义工工作人员参与这个制作，以及在座的现场所有的人对于这个视频的发放的大力的支持表示感谢，谢谢大家。
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bo. We'll now have a short Tai Chi demonstration.
谢谢周博士。现在呢，我们接下来给大家带来一个简短的太极表演。
I would now like to introduce Jane Schneider, my colleague, the Manager of Communication at Seniors' Rights Service, who'll explain a bit about our service.
谢谢之前的表演。现在给大家介绍我们的公关部的经理 Miss Jane Schneider 来介绍一下我们老年权益服务社提供的服务。
Seniors' Rights Service has been assisting older people for over 30 years.
老年权益服务社呢，已经提供了将近30年给老人社区提供帮助的服务。
We're a free legal service.
我们是一个免费的法律服务的提供者。
We're also a free aged care advocacy service, which means we can assist you with a whole range of inquiries and issues that you might have with aged care.
同时，我们也是老年人护理的倡导者，服务提供免费的服务。大家有任何的咨询服务，都可以来我社咨询。
All our services are free, and we work with interpreters.
我们所有的服务都是免费的，而且我们提供翻译的、传译的服务。
Today we're launching 2 films, and we're going to discuss the issues that those films raise.
今天我们会发布2个视频，视频当中呢会体现2个比较常见的问题。
The stories in these films are based on the experiences that you have shared with us.
我们这个视频的故事的背景呢，都是来自于你们提供的素材，你们所经历的。
We know that abuse of older people can happen within the family.
我们知道，在家庭当中，对老年人的欺凌是有可能发生的。
Fortunately, there are things that can be done to help prevent this form of abuse.
幸运的是呢，我们能够预防、阻止老年欺凌现象的发生。我们可以做很多的事情。
And we'll be talking about those today.
我们今天就会对这些的事情做一个讨论。
Apologies. These films were made with the assistance of the Department of Communities and Justice and Multicultural New South Wales.
这些视频的制作呢，来自于新州的社区多元文化组织提供大力的帮助。
And of course, our deepest gratitude goes towards Cass. We thank you for your collaboration, your expertise, and your time.
我们最大的感谢呢，要给予华人服务社，你们的专业、你们的服务、你们的时间、你们的精神，就是给我们提供很大的帮助。
And special thanks to Jane Liu and the actors who volunteered their time.
同时，对于志愿者参与这个视频制作的演员 Jane Wu 表示感谢。
谢谢。
谢谢。
Thank you, Shishin. And we'll now watch the first video, which is I Can Decide, a story about power of attorney and some of the issues involved when making a power of attorney.
第一个视频呢，叫做“我能做主”，是围绕着关于委托书以及委托书相关的事宜做一个探讨，请大家观赏。
什么？我们还欠人家多少钱？啊？好吧，我们越早卖出去越好。还没有跟咱妈说呢。妈，你好吗？
你来了，我什么时候可以离开这里啊？
这次你摔得这么厉害，万一你出去又摔倒了怎么办？你需要人一直细心的照顾你。
我的髋关节已经好多了，我可以回家了。
妈，你还记得几个星期前你签的文件吗？
记得。怎么了？
我有你的委托书，意思是
你可以帮助我。
没错，我能决定什么是对你好的。你需要人一直照顾你。
别说了，我要回家了，我要收拾东西回家。
妈，我们已经把你的房子挂到市场上了。
我的女儿为什么这样对我？
不，亲爱的，他不能这样做。
那他已经签了委托书，他说他可以代表我处理所有的财务。
他不经过你的同意，不可以把你的房子卖掉。
他说他有这个文件，他可以代表我做所有的财务决定。
不是的，亲爱的，只要你没有色能就不行了。
什么意思？
只要你的脑子还能工作就可以了。
那我怎么更改？怎么办呢？
你可以先变更你的委托书。
我可以吗？
当然了。
但我怎么出去呢？
只要医生说没问题，你就可以出去，直接回家了。
好吧，那不算太晚。可是我女儿，我真是想帮她，她怎么能这样对我呢？
他肯定遇上了什么事，手头很紧。你可以帮助他，但是先要保护好自己，然后我们再去法律咨询一下，好吗？
我有什么权利？将来我应该注意些什么？
I hope you enjoyed the videos, and I realised I didn't introduce myself. I'm Diana Bernard, the Manager of Education at Seniors' Rights, and I'd like to introduce a couple of colleagues. Kate Kennedy, who's the social worker at Seniors' Rights.
Kate Kennedy 女士呢，是我们老年权益服务社负责社工服务的。
And Melissa Chaplin, who's one of our lawyers at Seniors' Rights.
Melissa Chaplin 女士呢，是我们老年权益服务社的律师。
So we're just going to discuss some of the issues that came up. Melissa, of the video says, what would your answer to that be?
So the rights in this situation of the mother are that while she has capacity, the attorney must follow her instructions.
我们这个视频里面，这个妈妈在她的神志还是清晰的时候，那么即便有委托书，还是要尊重她本人的意愿。
If the attorney does not follow her instructions, then she can at any time revoke the power of attorney and make a new one.
如果在任何时候被委托人不按照他的意向执行的话呢，他在任何时候都可以撤销这份委托，再做一份新的委托书。
Thank you, Melissa. Kate, how could Zhangmin get out of the respite centre, as that's what she would like to do?
那么 Kate 那个妈妈怎么可以从那个康复中心出来呢？
So yes, she is. She's in respite care, so she's in temporary care, aged care, while she gets well. It seems like she has capacity, so she has the ability to make decisions for herself. So she actually can leave aged care. She can either talk to her doctor or talk to the aged care facility. She can also talk to one of our aged care advocates.
因为妈妈呢是在临时的老年看护中心，那么就证明她的身体、她的自己的神志能力还是清晰的，所以她出来以后呢，可以给我们老年服务倡导者获取服务。
So Kate, what might have prevented her from seeking help?
那么 Kate 是什么原因导致她不愿意去获取外界的帮助呢？
Yes, we actually see this quite a lot, Diana, that in fact, because of the family relationship, often mum might really struggle with what's happening, might feel ashamed about what's happening. And this can actually be a barrier, I suppose, in seeking help, just that shame of what's happening in her family.
是的，我们非常常见。那由于是一个亲密的母女的关系。因为如果把这些问题向外界去倾诉的话呢，妈妈有可能感觉非常的丢人，这也是由于亲情的关系阻止她获取外界的这样一个障碍。
Thank you. Melissa, what does the mother need to know in the future? That's what Zhangmin asked. What's your response?
Melissa, 那么对妈妈来说，她应该知道什么在安排她的将来呢？
So the mother needs to know that she can appoint a trusted person to be her attorney. It need not be a family member. It could be another trusted person, or she does have other options. So she could speak to a solicitor at Seniors' Rights.
在老年权益服务社，妈妈可以来跟我们来获求帮助。她可以再另外找一个信任的人作为她的委托人，这个人不一定要是她的家人，可以是她受信任的人。
Thank you, Kate and Melissa. You'll be back a bit later. Can I ask Helen to come up and join me?
好，现在欢迎 Helen 来加入我们，欢迎。
Helen Liu was one of our actors.
Helen 吴女士呢，是我们里面的一个演员。
And she did a terrific job, as well as being one of our performers today.
非常棒的表演。
So Helen, I'd just like to ask you a little bit about Do you see this issue of shame and lending money in the community? Do you have something to say about that?
Helen， 我想问你一下，你有没有看到在社区当中关于这种就是感觉非常丢人的，或者说是在社区当中有钱财的那个借的那个现象呢？
好的，因为我们呢都是新移民我们来自中国。中国呢有56个民族。
Yes, we are all like newly arrived migrants from different parts of China. We have 56 ethnic groups in China.
所以呢，每个地方的人呢有不同的特点。
Different people from different area does have different culture traits.
所以呢，如果家庭遇到了这种financial problem with their child 那么他遇到跟孩子呢发生了这些个金钱方面的问题的时候呢，他就每一个人呢都有不同的想法。
When a family member experiences financial dispute with other family members, people normally will have different thoughts regarding those issues.
是的。有些人就会认为，一个是由于刚才他们讲都很好，因为亲情的关系。
It is well said, individual. Sometimes it's due to the close relationship within the family.
还有一个呢是由于我们这些老年人呢年龄越来越大，这样呢就会更对子女更有多的依赖。
Yeah, with the aging of the senior group. A lot of Asian people will rely more on their children.
是的，如果他们把这些不好的事情说出去呢，一个是觉得很丢脸。
If they disclose those disputes to other people, they feel shamed.
如果孩子知道了，反而会使他这个老年人呢。会更不好不利的地位。
If the children knowing their mother or the parents talking those family members to other people, the parents might feel it's not in their best interest. They might facing being treated differently by their children.
是的。
Thank you very much, Helen. It's really good to have a community perspective on what we're doing as well.
所以说，谢谢 Helen。社区的意见、社区的见闻，对我们来说呢，也是非常重要的。
是的，谢谢。这个宣传呢，对我们来说非常的重要，感谢你们。
This video plays a very important role in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. We'd now like to show video number 2, the loan, which is about lending money in families. Thank you.
第二个视频是关于家庭内部钱财的一个借贷。
你还记得上海的那个冰淇淋店吗？
为什么会忘记呢？有那么多美好的回忆。
我很想念那段时间，和朋友们在一起的时光。
我也很想你啊，从那以后就没有见过你了。
我总算把孩子哄睡了，妈，阿姨晚安，我妈妈该睡觉了。
我们还没讲完呢。
我明天要早点走，你可以送小孩去学校吗？
当然可以。
怎么啦？
李军叫我多抽点时间和同龄人在一起。
互联网就是用来做这个的呀。
来睡觉吧。
妈妈晚安。 戏。
我同意他们打完这一局，很快就完的。
你和他们相处得很好，如果我是那样做，会跟他们大吵一场的。
李俊先叫我到奥兰治去看他，我是认真的，我很想去。
妈，你知道我们负担不起，我们贷款还没还呢。
那我借给你们的钱呢？
那是你给我们的钱，
我以为你会还我的。
我们帮你做了那么多，你怎么还要我们还那个钱？
我不要你全部还，我只要买一张车票和零花就行了。
算了吧，我们不会还你钱的，不要说了。
那是你的钱，如果你想来看我，你首先要做。
但是李娜讲，她承担了家里的所有的开销，吃饭啊、水电费啊等等所有东西，所以我想不应该向她要钱，我觉得这样对她不好。
可是你每天都在这个家里忙活啊，他上班还有下班的时间嘛，所以你也应该有啊。
是啊。但是李娜她很固执，她是不会同意我去。
让我和丽娜谈谈吧，如果她不听我的，我就打电话给我的朋友妹，她的工作就专门帮助像你这样的人。
但是我不想让家庭麻烦。
你们家里已经有麻烦了，是时候解决它了。
我的女儿为什么会这样对我？我应该可以向谁求助
？Welcome back. An interesting story as well. Kate Zhangjin asks, why would my mother do this? Why would my daughter do that to me? Would you like to say a few words about that?
非常有意思的一个视频哈 ，Kate 她女儿为什么会？她妈妈问女儿为什么这样对我？
Yes, it's understandable that she feels very, very let down by her daughter. It's not okay. She's quite vulnerable actually, this older person. She's quite reliant on her daughter for housing and for food and for money. Yeah, I suppose there was an unspoken family arrangement that really she's now in a very vulnerable situation. Yeah.
是的，就是很可以理解，因为妈妈呢依赖你女儿，她的吃住安排都是她女儿在提供，所以她也非常的失望。这样的一个家庭的一个关系的一个安排呢，导致她处于一个非常脆弱的这样一个境地。
Thank you. Melissa, would you like to add something to that?
Melissa, 请你对此有什么想说的吗？
So in relation to the money that the mother loaned the daughter, what she needs to do is prove it's a loan and not a gift. So she should get it in writing with the amount when it's to be paid back and signed by both parties.
关于妈妈借给女儿的钱呢，妈妈呢需要一个文字上的一个证明，也就是说这个钱是一个借款，而不是一个赠与。也就是说，双方对于钱款的金额以及双方的这样一个借贷关系，都要在借款上说明签字。
Melissa, is there something else that Zhangjin should have been aware of? For instance, gifting rules?
那么，关于妈妈对于赠与这个方面的一个定义，需不需要有进一步的理解呢？
If the mother is on the age pension, if she gives money to her daughter, Centrelink have rules. you can only give $10,000 a year or $30,000 over 5 years. If you gift more than this amount, your age pension can be affected.
如果妈妈是在拿养老金的话呢 ，Centrelink 对于赠与呢是有定义的，1年之内不能超过赠与女儿超过1万，3年之内is it 5 years cannot exceed 5年之内赠与不能超过3万，如果超过这个额度呢 ，Centrelink 就会对你的养老金就是要停掉采取措施。
Thank you, Kate. Where else might she have gone for some help?
Kate， 妈妈还可以向什么其他机构获取帮助呢？
So there is actually lots of help there. I think obviously our service, Seniors' Rights Service, is a good starting point because we have legal but also some advocacy around exploring options for home care and lots of help generally. But also community services like CAS is great because, you know, getting help with services and information about what your options are and talking to other people in language is really important. We also work with interpreters, so knowing that is useful for people as well. But yeah, just getting some information for yourself is really important.
非常重要，老年人想要外界获取帮助，像我们老年传语服务中心呢，就能够提供很多的帮助。我们有法律意见的咨询的服务，我们也有其他老人权益的服务。同时，华人服务社呢，也是一个非常强大的、非常有帮助的机构。老年人可以获得就是更多的信息，关于他们的权利，就是可以获取信息。
Thank you. We're now going to open up to questions to the audience here today and also to the online audience. I have a couple already coming in. They're coming on my mobile. Jane's sending them over to me and then I'll pose the question. So Kate, I think this one's for you. My kids cannot look after me and they don't want to, but they want to apply for carers payment for me. Is that right?
好，我们现在线上接受一个咨询，也就是问的，我的孩子不想来照顾我，但是他们想去申领照顾津贴。Kate， 对此你怎么回答？
So this older person needs to get information for themselves about what their rights are regarding care. If they're, you know, because each situation is individual, so we would really encourage that person to call us and they can speak to our advocacy service or the social work service and get free confidential information about what is happening for them.
每个人的境遇的情况都是不一样的，所以我鼓励这位提出问题的老人给我们致电，因为我们机构里面有倡导的服务，有社工的服务，所以就是针对性的根据你的境况，我们可以给你一个个人化的一个解答。
One for you, Melissa. Do you have any suggestions if I plan to give some money to my son and they want to buy a house? How can I protect myself?
Melissa， 我呢想给其中一位问题，就是说我想给一些钱给我的儿子，他要买房子。那么对于这方面，你能给我一些什么建议吗？
Okay, if you're going to loan money to your son for a deposit on a house, that would be a significant sum of money, so you should definitely see a solicitor to have that loan agreement recorded in writing with terms that protect you. If you're on the age pension, you would also need to talk to Centrelink, a financial information service officer, as if you're gifting more than $10,000 a year or $30,000 for 5 years, it can affect your pension.
如果你想就是帮助儿子买房子的话，帮他们提供一些首付款，这是个非常大的金额，所以呢，非常明智的做法呢，你要通过律师做一个正规的一个借贷的一个手续。如果您是在拿养老金的，你1年当中想给予儿子超过1万，或者是5年当中3万的话呢，那么你要去 Centrelink 的财务信息官那边获取进一步的咨询。
Melissa, another one for you, which ties in with the last question. My son wants to add his name onto my property. I'm on the age pension. Will it affect my pension and what should I do?
OK，Melissa，还有一个问题我的儿子想在我的房产下加名字，也就是他加进来。那么我呢，是拿养老金的。那么这个会影响我的养老金的正常的领取吗？
The main concern with having your son or child on the legal title to your property is that you lose the security of ownership to your property, and by that I mean if your son and you fell into a dispute, your son could force a sale of your property.
重要的问题就是说，把你的子女的名字加到你的房产名下的话呢，那么如果说母子关系或者破裂的话呢，那么你就会失去你财产的一部分的所有权。
And another one relating back to the film, how can the mother change what's happening? Can she change her power of attorney?
关于视频当中的妈妈，就是观众来的问题，就是说，妈妈怎么改变？能改变她的委托书吗？怎么改变？怎么更改？
So the mother can revoke her power of attorney. She should ideally see a solicitor, do this in writing, serve a copy of the revocation on the attorney, and then she can make a new power of attorney, appointing someone else that she trusts to follow her instructions.
妈妈可以通过律师出一份撤销之前委托的这样一个文书，递交给委托人。同时呢，妈妈可以再找一个受她信任的人作为她的新的委托代理人。
Another question for you, Melissa. What are the ways parents can protect themselves if they lend money to family?
另外一个问题，如果父母想借钱给家庭成员的话，他们怎样能够保障他们的权益？
The most important thing to do is to get any loans recorded in writing with a solicitor so that the terms are clear, and then if the child stops repaying you the money, you have 6 years from the date they stop repaying to go to court to recover the balance.
最重要的一点就是借钱要有借条，在律师的见证下，把金额、把还款的方式都写下来。如果你的子女停止就是还钱的这样一个计划的话，从他停止那天开始的接下来6年之内，你可以向法庭提出诉讼，要求偿还借的金额。
Kate, did you want to add to that before we go on to the next question?
Yeah, thank you. I just think to just reiterate that it's really important that the older person knows that they have rights and to get their own independent, confidential advice. You know, you can ring us and have a chat confidentially and it's free. So, yeah, you're not on your own. And I know it's often difficult to think, oh, well, I don't want legal solicitors involved, but just getting some information early on can often really help to avert any of these big family problems.
很重要呢，老年人要向外界获取信息，知道他们的权益，先准备好。像给我们机构来提供来获取咨询的话，都是保密的，所以知道您的权益，对于将来可能发生的家庭内部的纠纷来说呢，对你来说是一个非常好的一个准备。
Another question for you, Melissa. I want a will and a power of attorney. How do I go about doing this?
给 Melissa 的一个问题，我想立遗嘱，我想就是做一份委托书，我怎么做呢？
Okay. If you're on the age pension, you can see the New South Wales trustee. They will do a power of attorney at no charge and a will, and they will allow you to appoint who you want as your executor.
如果你是在拿养老金的话呢，你去新州的那个委托人公署，那么他们提供的服务都是免费的，可以帮你免费立遗嘱，免费帮你找委托人。
Your other option is to see a private solicitor, obtain 3 quotes to compare prices, and get a will and a power of attorney prepared.
同时呢，也可以向私有的就是律师从业者去寻求报价，可以拿3个报价，您看一下 向谁去立你的遗嘱，做你的委托书。
And another question related to the will, how can you change a will?
另外一个问题呢是关于遗嘱的，我怎么能更改我的遗嘱呢？
To change a will, you should go back and see your solicitor because there are special rules regarding signing a will and having a will witnessed. So don't just change the will and initial it. Go to the solicitor and have the will properly redrafted and signed and witnessed before 2 independent witnesses.
要更改遗嘱很重要，要去找律师，因为遗嘱的更改是有一个法定的一个规定的，而不是说你自己改一下签一下就 OK 了，那不可以哈。因为律师帮你更改遗嘱的时候，他要重新给你起草一份，给你做更改，然后要在2个见证人面前签字，这份更改的遗嘱才会有效。
Another question. I have a property here and overseas. Can a lawyer here deal with all of the property issues, or do I need an international lawyer?
我有2个房产，就是海外也有，这边也有。那么我怎么样就是去聘用律师来管我的房产？是一个律师呢，还是说2边都要有呢？
If you make a will in New South Wales, it applies to your property in New South Wales. There are some countries that have international agreements where they can be recognised in Australia, but you would need to see an international lawyer practising in that jurisdiction to clarify whether you needed a will in the other country's jurisdiction.
新州的遗嘱的一个例主呢，是对新州的就是物业进行一个规定的。如果说你有海外的房产，有些国家呢是有一个互通的这样一个就是机制存在，但是你要问从业于国际业务的律师，跟他们确认海外的房产能不能也归入你的遗嘱当中，在澳大利亚里。
Thank you. I want my son to be the beneficiary of my will, and I also want my son to be my power of attorney. Can they both be the same person, Melissa?
接下来的问题是，我想是我的儿子作为遗嘱的受益人，同时我也想我的儿子作为我的委托人，我可以让他做同时2个人吗？
Your son can be your power of attorney and can be your beneficiary under your will, but make sure your son is willing to spend your money on you while you're alive and not preserve his inheritance to wait for your passing.
OK， 那也就是说，你的儿子可以作为你的委托人，也可以作为你的遗嘱的那个受益人，但是要确保你的儿子在你有生之年愿意花你的钱，因为这个钱你过世以后就是他的，就是在你身上花，也就是说不对他的受益的部分就是有一个利益上的冲突。
Another one similar to the one we had before. How can someone end their power of attorney and make a new one?
这个问题之前也问过，怎么样结束前一份的那个委托书，做一个新的委托书。
So you can revoke it. It's recommended that you do this in writing. There is a form for a revocation which we can send to you from Seniors' Rights. You can see a solicitor and have the form executed before an independent witness and served on your attorney.
有一份表格要填，在那个我也可以问我们老年权益服务社索取这份表格，也就是说撤销之前就是这个委托的这份书，然后呢也要在我们在律师面前，在见证人面前签署这份表格，就是废掉你原来的这份委托书。
Thank you. It seems we have no more questions, so if you do have some questions that you don't feel comfortable asking, please feel free to ring Seniors' Rights Service at any time on 1800 424 079 and ask to speak with a social worker if it's more of an abuse issue, or if you have some legal queries, ask to speak with one of our lawyers. That's 1800 424 079. So we're now going to have a dance performance by some of our dancers from CAS.
好，如果大家还有问题但不方便现场提问的话呢，请致电我们老年权益服务社，进一步的获取帮助。接下来我们有一段舞蹈表演，请大家欣赏。
Thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed that lovely piece of dance. And thank you for listening to some of these difficult issues and talking about some of them with family members because they need to be spoken about.
非常感谢大家观看今天的影片，那也非常感谢今天的舞者能为我们表演今天的精彩的活动。
From next week, Seniors' Rights will have the videos available on their website. If you go to the front page, it will say Family Money Matters.
从下周开始呢，长者权益中心的关于这个家庭事务的影片就可以在权益中心的网站首页上就可以看到了。
The videos will also have a facilitator guide, which means that if someone like Jane's managers are running a social group and want to show the videos and have a discussion, it'll assist them in knowing what to talk about.
那在网站的首页呢，同时也会有帮助。如果你是一个活动组织者，我们会有一个简单的表格，能够帮助你邀请到对应的一些嘉宾，能够主办相关的权益的活动。
So that's all from us today. Thank you for joining us again and have a nice day.
那今天就是我们以上所有的活动了，非常感谢大家所有的参与，祝大家今天剩下的时间活动愉快，谢谢。